Hey there everyone, IdrA here with Game 2 of this Best of 3 series between the Blue Protoss MC and his opponent, the Red Zerg IdrA. We did see in game number 1, actually before I spoil that, let's talk about this map. It is MLG Metalopolis, and these players are spawning in close positions by air, as these bases are completely within a stone's throw from one another if you're going to be going over this chasm right here. This Overlord is going to be the fastest Overlord scout possible. As you can see, he never looked so fast as he does going over this canyon. As we speak, he's already almost halfway to his opponent's base, so IdrA will be super happy about these spawn locations, and both these players will have to play a game knowing that air units, especially harassing early in the game, will be much more effective than otherwise, as MC's probe will be getting verification of that fact indeed in short order as well. Anyway, in game number 1, we did see MC take that game down as he was able to ride an early victory and a pretty big skirmish in the middle game into just never relinquishing that lead, and he was able to take that game down in the end. IdrA did actually GG, so no bad blood yet quite in this series. That does indeed make MC up 5-0 in recent large tournaments against his Zerg opponent here, as he won 4 in a row off of IdrA at MLG Columbus to knock his Zerg opponent out. So we'll see if IdrA is finally able to break that streak, or if MC will continue to, in a word, own IdrA in recent history. MC is getting his base underway. Both these players are, let's just take that nameplate off, as some people were telling me it is obtrusive, as it does take a pretty significant portion of the screen, so we'll just take that off out of the way for this game. We'll experiment with it, see how it goes. It looks weird to me right now, but I'm sure I'll get used to it, and if it's what the people want, it's what the people will get. Of course, if you guys have any sort of suggestions or opinions, please don't hesitate to let me know, and I will try to incorporate them into my casting, as this game itself is the product of a fan telling me what he wanted, as someone decided that he wanted more IdrA games. So I looked online, found this series, and right now I'm casting game number 2 of this best of 3. Hopefully we'll see IdrA take it down and force a game number 3, but of course, can't always happen the way we want it to, as we have a pylon going up for MC, so he's just being a huge jerk right now. As IdrA will, as he saved up resources for that hatchery, won't be able to put that down because there is a jerk pylon in the way, blocking that expansion from being able to get set up. IdrA's Overlord is happily floating over the base of MC, seeing that nothing crazy is happening, although double gas is on the way right now, or is already done. So that might alert IdrA to some possible tech play happening later on in this game. We'll see what MC has in mind, as this probe is the most hated probe in the world right now. Zerglings trying to make sure it doesn't get a second round of annoyance in, because of course, if you allow that Protoss to warp in yet another building, then you're going to have to wait even longer. But IdrA does manage to get his hatchery up a little bit later than he would have liked, but still got that pretty early nonetheless. So his hatchery is now getting underway, as MC's Cybercore is also just about to finish, and there it goes. He already has the Zealots out, so his base is secure against any early game aggression, but of course that is not coming because he knows exactly what IdrA is doing, as this probe is trying to scoot on away from these Zerglings, as it made the round all the way from over here across the other side of the map, and it might just be able to make it back to its home alive, as these Zerglings get one attack in and then fall back a couple of steps. So we'll watch this drone try to be very heroic and make it back in after blocking off an expansion and just being an all-around pest, and he does indeed get a hero's welcome. That sentry and zealot high-fiving it on the way by. If indeed probes could give high fives, I'm not sure if they can. At any rate, we do have metabolic boost about halfway done for IdrA, while Warpgate is also about halfway done for our Protoss player MC. He has 2 sentries along with 1 zealot out right now, being the pro that he is. Will get those sentries out as early as possible, because it does give them more time to build up their energy when the engagement does happen, so they have access to yet a few more force fields than they might otherwise. And also Guardian Shield if you want to use that, if that is also worth your while. IdrA's hatchery is getting nicely populated right now, as a couple of Zerglings have come over, a couple of drones rather, have come over from the main, and the creep is spreading, and now these creep are touching, so that's always a lovely sight to see when your creep assimilates into one another. And there it goes, the last hole is filled, so the creep is all nicely accustomed to one another, and they're going to be friends forever. And now we have these 3 Zerglings still kind of just running around the outskirts of the Protoss player's base. One does get tickled a little bit by a sentry as we have a 3rd sentry joining the party. This probe does venture out and set up that Nexus, so MC will have an expansion up as well, as those 2 assimilars earlier are going to give MC the gas necessary to go this Dark Shrine, warping that in right at his front. So that's why he's actually putting units and a pylon down here and kind of just blocking off the ramp all the way on the bottom rather than up here, because he doesn't want IdrA to be able to see this Dark Shrine. And you might ask, why doesn't he just put that in the back of his base then? Well, the reason he's putting it right here is Overlords, when your Zerg player can fly in from all of these angles, and the one angle that an Overlord probably won't fly in from is, of course, your front door. So this might actually be the very best place to hide a Dark Shrine. So very well played by MC right here, getting his building placement down at the perfect spot. As this fort is getting surrounded by Roaches and Zerglings, that Nexus will be forced to cancel, as IdrA might be moving in for an attack right now, or might just be content with having done that. One Dark Templar is out, however, and is going to be attacking these Roaches. We'll see if IdrA is able to do anything about this, as now he realizes that Dark Templars are a very significant threat right now. And I'm not sure if he even notices this Roach getting hit, but if he even takes a look over here and sees that indeed something invisible just splattered one of his Roaches all over the ground, he will be alerted to the fact that he needs to get some detection, he needs to get some defense on the way, because if he doesn't, his day might just be ruined by Dark Templars once again. I say once again because that's exactly how he lost a game in the previous series between these players at Columbus. I won't spoil that game because, of course, you should watch that if you're interested, but suffice it to say, Dark Templars ruined IdrA's day, and he was not happy about it. Zerglings now coming back over to this side of the field, mustering up a group of 12 Zerglings to try to attack and see what they can do, but unfortunately for them, MC was ready for that and repelled it very quickly and very easily, as he has gotten this Nexus back underway. It is now about halfway to completion. IdrA has actually gotten a ninja expansion up here at the top right player's main, so we'll see if that pays off for him. It might be a case of a hatchery that doesn't pay off for itself if MC attacks in the near future, but we'll see just how this game plays out. MC, does he have anything under this Twilight Council? Nope, nothing out of there quite yet, as he just used that to get to Dark Templars. Meanwhile, at IdrA's base, we have Spore Crawlers up. He is now ready to detect against any Dark Templars that might be coming in to ruin his day. So not too much damage done by Dark Templars, and it looks like MC has chosen to let that go for now and has stopped production of those Dark Templars. How many does he have? He only has the one that we saw in action earlier. So nothing too crazy coming out of MC right now, as he's now getting his natural expansion nicely saturated, almost completely saturated right off the bat as soon as that Nexus warped in, moving a lot of probes from the main to the natural. Let's check in on this third base for IdrA. It is right getting close to being done, as meanwhile MC is getting that ground weapons level 1 just now underway, and he's also getting the Roach, or rather IdrA is getting the Roach movement speed and burrow. So he's going to be going for some Roach play in this game, trying to do some damage here to stop MC from getting the same death ball that he had in the previous game, because of course IdrA knows what will happen if he allows MC to build up his army. Meanwhile, there's a Dark Templar right here just running around, content with being invisible and checking, and he will actually indeed see that this expansion is up, so he might get some free kills in there if there isn't a Spore Crawler built soon, as IdrA has morphed an Overseer just to check in on the base of MC. Stalkers are warped in to make sure this Overseer does have to leave. It probably won't get killed right now, or it might. It looks like he's going to be pretty low on health. He will indeed make it out alive. One more, oh, barely makes it out alive with 8 hit points. One more attack would have spelled the end of that Overlord, and now we see this Dark Templar arriving. Almost perfect timing. Oh, nope, there is a Spore Crawler. So that Dark Templar, it looks like, will have his days be numbered if he chooses to continue to attack. But he will be smart about it and hightail out of there, content with attacking extractors while he's out of the range of this Spore Crawler. Now he's going to be going and sniping a couple of drones, as of course just because he can be seen doesn't mean he's going to be attacked. So these drones are losing their lives. IdrA is not responding to this quickly enough. This Dark Templar getting a nice few kills. Couldn't click on him fast enough. Let's just look at the workers lost tab. He was able to get a couple of workers, and now it's up to 8 workers killed by our Protoss player. So nicely done right there, able to take his Dark Templar and run in there and snipe a few drones before IdrA was able to respond. Well played by MC, not very well handled by his Zerg opponent IdrA. Blink is getting pretty close to finished for our Protoss player, along with weapons level 2 just now getting underway for his ground forces, which is, as you can see, a bunch of stalkers surrounding a core group of sentries. So Guardian Shields and Force Field is going to be excellent for this Blink Stalker army, as we're going to watch MC focus almost entirely on that Blink Stalker play. How will IdrA respond, as all of these roaches are very vulnerable to Stalker fire, because of course they do count as armored, and Stalkers do extra damage against armored units. IdrA will not be able to rely on these roaches, as he has pretty heavily invested getting both the upgrades for them, those tunneling claws and the roach movement speed. So he's going to have to be committed to this, and they're getting cut almost in half as these roaches try to burrow, but an observer will say, nope, that's not going to work today, so all of those roaches will lose their lives. These roaches realize that they are in a world of hurt, as, let's see how many there are here, 24 plus 3 more, as a couple more also join. So there are 27 or 9 roaches right there trying to burrow, but an observer once again says no. Force fields preventing them from being able to do much. Burrowing under force fields, but more force fields just being layered on. MC must be chuckling to himself as he just kept force fielding above these roaches, and IdrA lost about half of them before they could even get in a counterattack, a word edgewise. And now this Stalker Concave is looking so incredibly fearsome, blinking to chase down these roaches. IdrA is in trouble, folks. He is going to lose almost all of those roaches, as more were misrallied into the battle. Unfortunately for them, there's really not much they can do, as this Stalker army is just tearing shreds through the entirety of the Zerg forces, taking out creep tumors on their way to the other side. This is just a steamroller comprised of a bunch of stalkers. It's 24 plus a few more, so let's call this 30 or 35 stalkers just coming into IdrA's base, about to ruin his day. As soon as these arrive, I'm not sure what IdrA can do, as roaches can't tunnel to get away because there's an observer overhead that will spot them if they try to do that. They can't engage headlong, as not only are they outmatched, but they're also outnumbered. So these roaches trying to make a stand right here, but these Blink Stalkers will be able to just tell them no, as Stalkers basically have nothing to fear, only roaches in their way, which they are so happy about. They can destroy roaches to the best of their ability. As now they're going to be moving in, taking out creep tumors as well. These roaches trying to figure out what they can do, as all of these roaches are basically scared to death right now, and now they're being shot to death, which is even worse than being scared to death. Trying to get some Hydras out, as Hydras are much more effective against Stalkers, but look at this. So many Stalkers, even an Immortal in the party now as well. Looks like IdrA is in some serious trouble, as MC's army is just tearing his apart, and that will force IdrA to GG. So it looks like MC was able to take this game down. He takes it down 2 games to none, and he was able to lose only half as many resources as IdrA did that game. So IdrA was once again outplayed by MC. That is 6 times in a row now. IdrA he has to go back to the drawing board and figure out what he can do against a Protoss player of MC's caliber, because if this continues, I mean, you can't really lose all of your games against Protoss and expect to be successful at all as a pro Zerg player. So we'll see what IdrA's able to do in the future, as in the present, or, well, this is in the past a little bit, but in the present when this game was played, he is struggling against MC. Very well played by MC, very well done, taking out a very strong player in IdrA in 2 straight games. He will move on to the round of 8. I hope you guys enjoyed that game, and I will see you guys next time.